This is the Daily Freakouts for Friday, the 26th of September, 2025. Hello and welcome to yet another attempt at a podcast. And I've got little bits of weirdness going on in my headphones as always. It's fun times trying to do something and trying to create something, and you can't practice it without doing it, as they say. So, much like stand-up comedy, you always hear stand-up comedians talking about how you have to get up on stage and perform. You can't just do it in your lounge room. And even though I'm doing this from my spare bedroom, it's still an attempt at, you still have to do it out there for everyone, and that's fine. I was talking the other day about how I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight and trying to be healthier and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I talked about how I shouldn't have ice cream for dinner. So last night after work, I had Pop-Tarts for dinner. Absolutely terrible. But it was really nice. I really enjoyed them. They were nice. They were warm. They were like a little treat at the end of the night. It's amazing how such an artificial pastry, dessert, breakfast, whatever, can be so bad for you, yet so nice and yum to eat. Pop-Tarts, if you're listening, don't sponsor me because I don't need more Pop-Tarts. What do you want, Doctor? I've just got a dog here that wants to talk. You haven't got a segment on the show yet. When you can talk and start to learn to bark and stuff, you can have a segment on the show. Once I finish this, we'll go. Okay. She doesn't understand English quite well enough yet. Just grunts and groans. Anyway, it's Friday. It's the 26th of September. Here in my state, we have a public holiday today because tomorrow there's a big football game. I've mentioned it before. Imagine the biggest football game or sporting event in your town or your area, your country, and then imagine the day before that you get a public holiday. Who knows why? Who knows the logic of it? I love AFL football. I think it's the best game in the world. I don't follow it week in, week out, but I don't quite understand why we get a football game for it. It does not make sense to me. Oh, sorry, why we get a public holiday for it. It doesn't make sense to me. We've also, I'm pretty sure we've still got the Melbourne Cup public holiday, which the Melbourne Cup public holiday came about because the race would be on like a Wednesday or something, and it would take a couple of days for people in the country to travel down to the city in order to watch the football, watch the horse race. Yet for some strange reason, and so for that they've decided that you get a public holiday, and it's continued on until now, where it takes a few hours to get from the country to the city to watch the horse racing. So who knows why these public holidays happen? But in all honesty, they're not a bad idea. Just having random public holidays put around the year is fantastic because it gives people something to look forward to. It does give people that day off, and it gives casual workers like myself a little bit more money, except for the fact that we're not open today. So I actually get the holiday and not the extra money. But that's fine with me. A day off is fine. I'm going to do some car cleaning and maintenance and maybe mow the lawn. It's really good. Somebody with lots of emojis on the TikTok has just decided to like spam the feed, and I think that's good. Is that good? I don't understand what the kids do these days with their lots of likes, but thank you for all the likes, I guess. Leave a comment. What do you think? What do you think about public holidays? Should we have more public holidays, or should we have less public holidays? I've always said that here in Australia, because we're in the Southern Hemisphere and our seasons are alternative to the Northern Hemisphere, celebrating this Northern Hemisphere celebratory classic holidays doesn't make a lot of sense. For instance, our Christmas, and New Year's holiday period, even though it's in the middle of or the start of summer, which is great, it means that in the middle of winter we don't have anything to look forward to. Whereas in the northern hemisphere, especially let's say with the American system, you've got that Thanksgiving and then you've got the Christmas, and having those in the middle of the cold season means that you've got that thing to look forward to. And there's that lovely cliche of going to a family event and having everyone together around the fire and we're all cozy and stuff like that when it's snowing. And it all really makes a lot of sense because it's such a somewhat miserable time of day. You've got that seasonal depression hitting you and stuff. And then you spend all that time with all the friends and family and the warmth and the food and all that kind of stuff. And it's, if everything goes well and everyone is nice to each other, it's a really nice setup and way to go. But we don't have that here. And so we've got all these little public holidays spread out across the year. And I think that sort of makes up for it in a way, in that we have a combination of little holidays of random events like football and horse racing and stuff like that. And so even people who don't celebrate football can spend a bit of time taking the day off, which I think is quite nice. As I said, I'm going to go to the park with the dogs, do a bit of house maintenance, and that's really nice. It does mean that a few shops and things aren't open, which is a shame, but I just had a thought. I wonder if the little local cafe near my place is going to be open today. Going to the park, going to film a little food segment for the Bobby Freakout Hour, which still hasn't had a new episode in a long time, but hopefully will soon. And maybe I'll buy a coffee on the way there. So that'll be nice. Anyway, let's talk about our first little news article type thing that I wanted to talk about. And here it comes. It is Gympie Regional Council votes to remove fluoride from town's water supply. Now, there's a very interesting thing in the world where it appears that states and people who live in hotter climates in certain countries get a little bit weird and wacky. So in America, the Deep South being the warmer area of the country, has got a few weird and wacky people. That classic thing of Florida man does this, Florida man does that. And we have a similar type thing here in that whenever we hear about crazy stories, it's always out of Queensland. And there are a lot of nice people in Queensland. I've been to Queensland a lot, or not a lot, but a bunch. We used to holiday there. Lovely people up there, lovely areas, lovely beaches, lovely weather, fantastic. But every now and again you hear some weird stories. And this is another one of them. So Gympie is a place in southeast Queensland, and they have voted to scrap fluoride from its water supply in less than 12 months. The short version of it here from the abc.net.au article is Gympie Regional Council has voted to remove fluoride from town's water supply. The decision was ratified 5 votes to 3 and comes after a year of debate. And what's next? The process to remove fluoride will cost $100,000 and begin in coming weeks. I'm confused as to how it costs that much money to remove fluoride from water, because I would have thought that just putting it in would cost money, not putting it in would not cost money. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. But the thing that really interests me is that not living there, I'm not going to suffer any potential consequences of this. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because who knows what's going to happen. Now, the obvious thing is a lot of people would say, well, they're all going to have shit teeth in 10, 20 years. But who knows? Because I went down a line of thinking a while ago about how I didn't like this and I didn't like that. And I almost got sucked into the alternative sphere and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I came to was, I think the evidence is there that fluoride isn't terrible for our water, or for our teeth and for our bodies. I don't think you can say that it's not a waste product, because it probably is a waste product. But as someone who really likes compost in the garden, and the fact that all compost is made up a lot of waste products aren't necessarily bad just because they're waste products. So the fact that it's a waste product doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. So that argument's out the window. And something that I saw on a social media clip or something recently about the argument against vaccines is people saying, "Oh, we don't need vaccines. Nobody's got this disease or that disease or whatever." And the argument was, well, the reason why we don't see polio and measles and stuff out there is because of vaccines. And if we stop taking them, those things will come back. And so vaccines have become almost their worst enemy, in that people think that we don't have these problems because the vaccines are doing such a good job of restricting or preventing those problems. And so you think to yourself, well, I don't need it, blah, blah, blah. So we look at our teeth and we go, well, we've got really nice, overall, we've got really good teeth. But then you go, well, why is that? Oh, maybe it's we don't need fluoride because our teeth are fine. No, it's our teeth are fine because we've got fluoride, that kind of argument. And I remember a podcast that I no longer listen to made the comment of, well, why is it in the water when we could just use toothpaste that's got fluoride in it and apply it directly to our teeth? And then I'm not a scientist. Maybe ingesting it makes it more effective, etc., etc. The only part of it that I don't like is the option. I don't like the fact that you don't have the option to not drink fluoride, in that it's in the water. So that's something I don't like. That being said, though, I drink fluoride water all the time. I've got my morning drink right here. It's got fluoride water in it because I got it out of the tap. And again, I'm not the smartest person. Other smart people have done tests, have done the experiments, and even though sometimes things go wrong with these kinds of scientific things, you can't argue with the fact that most of our teeth are pretty good. So it's going to be very interesting. Apparently, the Queensland government in 2012 handed over to individual councils the power to choose whether they had fluoride in their water. Of the state's 77 local government areas, only 23 have fluoridated water. So over 50 government areas have not got fluoride in their water. Although the majority of the state's population is covered because the entire southeast has fluoride, and that's where most of the people are. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. And given that there's that many local government areas that have opted to not have fluoride, it'll be very interesting to see in coming years, in coming decades, whether it becomes like a joke in Queensland that people have bad teeth because of this kind of situation. But again, if you live in Gympie and you think fluoride's good for your teeth, you can still go out and buy fluoridated toothpaste and all that kind of stuff. And it'd be really interesting to see. Cletus on the TikTok has asked what my channel is about, tinfoil hat stuff. No, my channel is not about that. It is meant to be the Bobby Freakout Hour, the Bobby Freakout Hour is meant to be a variety vlog, but I post that so seldomly at the moment, it's ridiculous. But the Daily Freakout is meant to be just a news chat show, a little bit of a breakfast radio style thing. And so today I happened to notice this article from the ABC about Gympie's Regional Council voting to remove fluoride from the town's water supply. And so we're just talking about that today. What do you think, Cletus? Should we have fluoride in our water or not? It's Cletus has said fluoride is not added to water of a town near me. Most people there are bogans. Yeah, but how are their teeth? Even if they're bogans, how are their teeth? And he said, Cletus has said that I would say that fluoride seems to have no impact. Yeah, it's very possible that it does have very minimal impact. I mean, some people, but as I said, I almost went down the tinfoil hat route, and people in that area were saying things like it calcifies the pineal gland and makes you stupid. And it's like, well, I don't think that's the case, because I'm pretty sure most scientists drink fluoridated water and they do science things. Most intelligent people in this world drink tap water, which has got the fluoride. Thank you, Cletus. As a reporter for the show, please check out the teeth of the local people next time you're there. Tell them Bobby sent you, and get back to us. That would be great. Sorry, some random guy on the internet wants me to check your teeth. Can I just open your mouth for a second there? Yeah, I I have to go with science on these ones on most of the time because again, I don't know. I didn't do the experiments. So as much as I like the idea of living off grid and drinking rainwater and all that kind of stuff, we've done the experiments over hundreds of years. Um, Human life expectancy is longer than it ever has been. Human health in general, human strength, um, world records for basic stuff like 100-meter sprints and all that kind of like Olympic competitions is only getting better. We're lifting more and more weight in bodybuilding competitions. All these kind of things, humans are only getting better. And it has to go that science and things like fluoride in water is good for us in that regard. So yeah, it is a tinfoil hat thing to suggest we're getting rid of fluoride in water, but giving these councils and these regional communities the chance to get rid of the water, or the fluoride, I mean, is probably a good thing for the rest of us because we can see the experiment. Allow them to do the experiment and we can see the results. And hopefully over time we can say, hey, that's good. Maybe we should keep fluoride in our water, or maybe we should get rid of it. Who knows? It's like vaccines and stuff. If you don't believe in vaccines, I personally do, but if you don't believe in them, don't take them and see what happens. Science, it's one big experiment, and doing more and more experiments proves or disproves science, and that's fantastic because we get more knowledgeable as we go. Anyway, it's time for a song. One of the other projects that I'm trying to do in life at the moment is record bands in their rehearsal studios. So I've looked into mic techniques and things and how you record bands and how you record and stuff. And back in the day, there was a system or a style of recording where you would use just a single microphone, and you'd put that one microphone in the middle of the room, and you'd get the band to stand around it. This is a lot of kind of stuff like early Elvis and things like that. And you'd go, oh, okay, John on guitar, you're a bit too loud, step back a bit. Steve on guitar, you're a bit quiet, come forward a bit. Oh, let's move the drums over here so it sounds a bit thing. And you'd position things around the microphone in distance from the microphone instead of using a fader on a mixer. And people still do that. And so there's a whole series on the YouTubes. And if I'm quick enough, I can bring it up so I can give you some information on it. It's called the One Mic series. And so the channel that I've gotten this one from is called One Mic, the Minimalist Recording Series. And the particular video or clip that I've picked is actually 8 years old, so it's quite an old one. But if you listen to it, and the 3 people watching on TikTok, unfortunately, the audio won't come through for you, so you'll have to just imagine. If you listen to it, you can hear all the different instruments, and if you notice the video, you can see all the different instruments and the way they're playing, and you can hear them so nicely that it's such a beautiful sound, and it's all because they've just positioned the mic and positioned the people in the room to get that sound. So it's very interesting, I think. Anyway, if you're a person out there who isn't interested in these kind of things, or has never thought of that kind of thing, let me know. What do you think? I think it's pretty interesting the way recording techniques can be done and the way that a band like this does. And there's some sound effecty type lead guitar in there, which is fantastic. And yeah, it's all very, very interesting. So whilst I go to the toilet for a toilet break, you listen to this.
You're off to shake the beast that has taken little pieces of you. Pieces of you. Ooh. And it's close enough to see it, but too far for you to touch. Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. Ooh. you do, like you do.
So that is the One Mic series with Shook Twins, Want Love, from 8 years ago. It's fantastic. I really, really enjoy it. The way it's the way the recording's done and the way it all sort of sits together there really nicely. It's a fantastic song. It's really good. And we're going to have a nice hard finish. There we go. Oops. And it's now doing that. I didn't want it to do that. Come back. Come back. There we go. Professional as always here on the Daily Freakout. Thank you very much for those of you who are still paying attention. But check that one out. It's on YouTube. One Mic series, Shook Twins. A lot of the stuff is sort of gentle acoustic music. There's a lot of bands on there with lots of different songs. The Shook Twins have got another one, Never Get a Girlfriend. And there's even the Dave Grisman Quintet. That's pretty cool. If you know who Dave Grisman is, you'll find that pretty cool. But yeah, it's a really interesting series. Beautiful, beautiful music that you could just listen to in your lounge room whilst reading a book on an afternoon kind of thing. It's very, very nice. And I am trying to quickly get to the other article I wanted to bring up, which is this one. Amazon blamed AI for layoffs, then hired cheap H-1B workers, senators allege. Now, I'm not really going to bother talking about Amazon in particular, but the thing that gets me is, that's my little lantern telling me that it's running out of power, so I'll just quickly turn some others on. Or it's a fancy light show. Anyway, Amazon are not a reputable or good company, in my opinion. I don't like them at all. I try to avoid using them. I've used them a few times back in the day, but I try to avoid them at all costs now. There's no way you can be earning, or you can have as much money as Bezos has without that money coming from exploiting workers. And as someone who is a low-income, small person in the world, I believe in the profits from the company should go back to the workers who are the ones doing it, as opposed to the person who owns it and sets it up. Now, the owner and person who sets it all up should get money. There's no doubt. They should be earning good. They should be having a good amount of money. But if your business earns $100 and you're taking more money out of that profit than your employers are, maybe there's something going on here. Like more than all of your employers combined, is what I'm saying. Like, I would imagine the wages that Amazon pays don't equal the amount of profit that Bezos gets. That's just an assumption. Who knows? I could be wrong. Quite possibly I am wrong. But I just don't think that should happen. I think that the workers should be getting paid better. And so the idea that Amazon is just blaming AI or using AI and then hiring cheaper workers, it's a load of bullshit. And we, the people who are paying for the services and for the products, have the power to vote for what we believe in by choosing not to pay or give money to Amazon if we don't agree with the way Amazon works. For instance, you shouldn't buy Nestle products because Nestle have done dodgy things. Don't buy Nike. Don't buy all these companies. The big companies have usually done something dodgy, and you have the choice to pay for the right or to pay from or buy from companies that benefit. The example of Disney, people's unsubscribing from Disney, is the great example, because they've said, hey, we don't like what you did. We don't like the company and the style that you're doing it, so we're not going to give you our money. We're going to unsubscribe. And I think that's the way to go. That's my personal opinion. That's the way to benefit the world, is to vote with your dollars, put your money where your mouth is, walk into a store that you believe in. Here in Melbourne, Australia, we are lucky to have exceptional coffee. So we don't go to places like Starbucks or Gloria Jeans or any of those other places. Some people still do. Whatever. You can do whatever you want. And don't get me wrong. I try to go to the local service station, petrol station, fuel station, gas station, whatever you want to call it. But sometimes I end up going to the big chain. Sometimes I end up going to the big chain supermarket. But I've started deliberately trying to go to the smaller supermarket because that's where I want my money to go. And I honestly, the one that I go to that's near me has the most gender diverse, brightly coloured haired alternative workers. And I just really like that for some reason. I don't look as alternative as I used to be or I am. And I go in there and I'm just like, no, I like the fact that these guys and girls have got brightly coloured hair and they all look a little bit ADHD and a little bit weird and alternative. And they've always been perfectly nice and the service has been good, the products have been good, so it's all win-win for me. But yeah, even though it's an article about Amazon, it's just vote with your money or vote with your feet. Put money into businesses that you believe in. Don't go the big chains, the big corporations. And hopefully then we can all have a better world, because we all know monopolies are not good for us consumers. Monopolies are only good for the people who have the monopoly. It's like, that's the reason why you win the game of Monopoly, is because you are the monopolist and you have ruined everybody else by kicking them out of the game effectively. So, Monopoly's bad, local community good. That's my attitude. So don't watch the big channels for your big podcasts. Watch and listen to the Daily Freakout, the minimal amateur, non-professional podcast coming to you from my spare bedroom. You can check it out on Apple Podcasts, streaming on YouTube and on YouTube videos, whatever. I'm going to be putting it on some other channels and stuff like that, or some other services and stuff when I can soon. Even though, again, hey, YouTube and Apple, they're big companies. What can we do? Do you diversify? What do you use? I don't know. Tell me, what do you do? What do you use for your music and for your streaming and all that kind of stuff that doesn't feel full of guilt? Because I don't use Spotify for a few different reasons, but I don't like what they've been doing, and I like the fact that people are dropping off Spotify. But then I use YouTube, which I'm pretty sure is owned by Google. So you can't win. You just can't win. And I even pay for YouTube Premium. Maybe I should look into that. Are YouTube dodgy? I don't think they are. Or maybe not as dodgy as some of the other ones. What can you do? What can you do? These big companies, eh? Anyway, thank you very much. That's the end of the week. It's Friday the 26th of September. I've been Bobby. Hopefully sometime soon a Freak Out Hour will be up. I've just got to do and find some music to add to it. I'm working on something called the Bobby Freakout Trivia Hour, which is going to be a online trivia contest. Hopefully that'll come up soon too. If you've got questions, comments, thoughts, I'd really like to know. Put your tinfoil hat on, and hopefully we can all have a good time. So if you're in Australia or in Melbourne and you're watching the football tomorrow, I hope your team wins. I just hope they all have a good time. And I hope Snoop Dogg is not as much of an embarrassment as Katy Perry was last year. Anyway, this is the Daily Freakout. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Have a good day. And here's the theme tune.